Hello, family. Welcome to the new and latest episode of the Sageology podcast. This week, we're going to be discussing the astrology of July 31st through August 6th. So, let's hop straight into it. I honestly don't think that this episode will be that long, but we will see where things go. So, kicking off at the beginning of the week, Monday is kind of a quiet day. The moon will be ingressing into Aquarius this day, and we'll get a few lunar transits, but what we really will be gearing up on is the Aquarius Full Moon on Tuesday. So I like this full moon. I think that this full moon is bringing a lot of things to light, and it's also an opportunity for lessons, growth, and expansion. So as we can see on the full moon, it is being ruled by a retrograde Saturn in Pisces. So again, while Saturn is retrograde, some people may feel like they don't have lack of direction or they don't know what to do, but things are just kind of too, abstract and not really concrete. But what I love about this lunation is that we have a Mercury in Virgo, which is opposing Saturn. So I do love that Mercury in Virgo is really bringing in that clarity. That Saturn doesn't, but it's you have to find that balance between your intuition, what feels like, and putting practical, tangible steps behind it. So I do love that aspect in the lunation because I do think that Mercury will be lending quite a helping hand, bringing some practicality. One thing that I love about Mercury and Virgo is that Mercury is both exalted and in its domicile in the sign of Virgo. So it's truly a wonderful it's a wonderful place for Mercury. Mercury and Virgo, they could literally figure out how to do anything. So use that moment of clarity in the era of confusion. And then again, you may feel like you know what you want to do, but let's say that, okay, I know what I want to do. I know this is what needs to be done, but I just don't feel like I have the proper instruction. I don't feel like I have the proper resources. Don't worry about that. I will say just focus on those tangible steps, focus on what you can do, and just do little things, because Pisces is the big picture and Virgo is like the small little details. So figure out the small little details, but also look at the big picture and just think of little things that you can do kind of every day to get closer to where you want to be. But also during this lunation, we see that the moon and the sun are making a square to Jupiter and Taurus, as well as Mars and Virgo making a square to Jupiter and Taurus as well. I mean, a trine to Jupiter and Taurus. So I believe that there is helping hand, there is luck. I do like that Mars is making a trine to Jupiter because the motivation is there. So people will definitely feel inspired action on whatever they're trying to do. They will feel inspired action, right? And Jupiter is there lending some luck with this square, but you may have to really look for it and dig deep for it. It's not necessarily going to be given to you, but that doesn't mean that it's not there. So I take this as, get creative. And I also do see there's like a nice balance of feminine and masculine energy throughout this lunation as well. So I really do feel like this is about getting creative, using logic, but also being thrifty. You gotta know how to make do with what you got and how to finesse your situation so it can work out in the best of your ability. And I do understand that there are going to be some setbacks in this lunation, or what feels like setbacks in this lunation. Some people will be, frustrated, but I do think that everything will come together in the end. And keep in mind that Mercury is going retrograde in Virgo later in the month. But I do think that this lunation could be highlighting things that will come full circle after Mercury has stationed direct once again after its retrograde period. So you may kind of get that idea of clarity now, know what you want to do now, feel inspired to do whatever you got to do now, but just know that, afterwards, it's kind of like the obstacles could be cleared. So that's that. Full moon, I actually really like it. So come Wednesday, the moon is going into Pisces, and there's honestly not much to discuss here. Like I said, I do think people will still be sort of processing that full moon and how it shows up in their life and kind of dealing with the after effects of that. So Wednesday's quite quiet, and the energy of a lunation is felt for 2 weeks. So I definitely do think that the fallout of this week will kind of be dealing with the energy felt within this lunation. Come Thursday, we will be having some heavy lunar transits. So the moon is going to come through in conjunct Saturn. Then she's going to oppose that Mercury in Virgo. She's going to sextile Jupiter. And then she's also going to oppose that Mars in Virgo as well. So basically, the moon is kind of like coming through and tag teaming, re-highlighting all of those planets that were highlighted in that full moon. So Thursday is kind of like full moon part 2, but not really. So the moon is just coming through and just kind of like, okay, remember this, remember that, remember this. So all of those things that were like triggered and highlighted on that full moon are going to be triggered and highlighted again, but the energy is going to be different. So instead of the moon being in Aquarius, it's going to be in Pisces. So kind of having a little bit less of that Aquarian like practicality nature, that Aquarian like cold harshness, look at logic. I do think that come Thursday, people will be able to see kind of like the big picture, the idea of the dream. So whereas Tuesday may be frustrating, like, okay, this is what I want, this is what I need, and I'm still working to get these things. It could be a lot of like frustration or just like wanting to give up or not really seeing it. But Thursday comes through and it's kind of like okay, this is the bigger picture. Yeah, I don't have all of these things now, but I'm going to get these things. And I see where that I am in the right mind state. I see where I'm going. I see the vision. The vision that I have on my heart that God implanted in my head is making sense now. And I want to hold on to this. And I will say that I do believe that the energy of this week will be heavy. God is putting it on my heart to tell you guys to make sure to up your spiritual protection during this week because, Saturnian energy is always heavy. I don't know what's going to be in the news. I don't know how it's going to look like, but I do think that we may see some people get into kind of like heavily survival mode, kind of get into like poverty or desperation energy. This is something more so that I'm channeling than with the astrology. So I do want you guys to protect yourself for that. If I ever feel like I could be slipping into that, I always look back at vision boards and affirmations and things like that. So maybe that's something that you guys want to do in order to prepare, or just focus on gratitude and focus on where you're going. But something is telling me that the energy of this week could be dense. But I do love Thursday because while Tuesday could be kind of frustrating, some progress and things will be highlighted, but I also do feel like a lot of people will be like, okay, but I'm still not there, right? I think Thursday is coming through with all that lunar Pisces energy to remind us of, I'm not there yet, but this is the big picture. This is what I'm aspiring to achieve, and I'm going to hold on to this. So come Friday, we have the moon. She'll be entering Aries. So again, that's like really more call to action. And I love that. So again, I love this moon in Aries too, because we're going to be more action oriented. So with Mercury and Virgo, we're figuring out the details. We're tweaking our plan. We are figuring out what we need to do. Thursday comes, we're feeling inspired and motivated again. And during this weekend, we're going to be inspired by action, be inspired to. And you guys, when we're on a precipice of change, it's always scary. When we're initiating new things, it's always scary because you're going into uncharted territory, which is why, the bravery, which is why the first sign of the zodiac is a Martian sign, because when you are going into new beginnings, when you're being the first of something, of anything, even when you are trying to make changes of your life, that requires bravery, that requires Martian energy, because you're going into uncharted territories. You don't know what the future will hold. You don't know what's going to be expected of you in order to make and go through with that change. So I really do love that this Aries energy that we are experiencing, after this lunation. So I do want people to kind of hold on to that. So come Sunday, we will have the Sun in Leo square Jupiter in Taurus, and I love this transit. So again, I do believe that Jupiter in Taurus, and Jupiter is slowing down now because he will be going retrograde later. I don't think Jupiter's going retrograde until September, but I'm not sure when Jupiter will enter its shadow phase. Anyway, don't worry about that, guys. It's really not that important. But I do love that square of the Sun to Jupiter, because the Sun, it's the Sun, it's our purpose, it's our destiny. The Sun every day keeps us alive. So the Sun is a constant reminder of our journey, our mission, why we're here, what we're doing. You get what I'm saying? Your sun is your soul. So the Sun is kind of like, what are you doing? Are you just here? Are you just like a meat sack taking up space? Or are you a person with, relationships with people who you care about? Are you a person that's doing something that's meaningful? Like, are you a person who will, when you leave this earth, will you just disappear, or will you have something still tied to your name? Will there be people here who still have loved you? Will there be people who still, that were inspired by you, that looked up to you? Your Sun is your soul. It's your purpose. It's your life's journey. That is the Sun, and it's squaring Jupiter. So even though times get hard, you understand what I'm saying? Even though times get hard sometimes, right? Jupiter is there to remind us that if there's a will, there's a way. So sometimes it's not always going to be so easy. Sometimes it's not always going to be a given. It's not always going to be like the world on a silver platter. No, it's not always going to be like that. But be sure to look around for the little blessings when you get them, because they are there. So I do love that Jupiter and Taurus kind of being just really a supportive energy and cutting some slack and coming through with some blessings, maybe in unexpected ways. But I do feel like that square energy with Jupiter is, you got to give a little, you got to work a little, and it'll meet you halfway. So it's not going to be like, maybe a trine will be unexpected blessings fall in your lap, walking down the street and finding a $50 bill, right? A square will be, what's a square situation? A square will be like sharing your food with a like homeless kid who is hungry, even though you're not homeless, but you needed that food and you don't really know where your next meal is going to come from. but you still had it within your heart to, share the last of what you had with that little kid. And then you find out that, one of your bills is taken care for or got canceled or something like that. So, Jupiter is kind of like you got to give a little. The square energy is kind of like you got to give a little and then you'll find unexpected blessings. And I did go ahead and look for you guys. Jupiter is going retrograde on the 5th of September. All throughout October and November and December. So yes, Jupiter is definitely in a shadow phase right now. So there's that. But yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys. So I do think that this is gonna be it has the potential to be a good week, but like I said, I do think that we may experience some heavy energy on this week. Pay attention to how you feel during this lunation. Make sure that you journal it. August is one of those months where we will be getting 2 full moons. I did say that I was going to run through some of the transits that we have in August in my last video, so let me do that real quick. So full moon on the 1st, we're going to have a Leo new moon on the 16th at 23° Leo. And we're going to have a full moon, a Pisces full moon on the 30th, August 30th. Mercury will station retrograde August 23rd. Okay, Uranus will station retrograde on August 28th. The sun will enter Virgo also on August 23rd. The same day that Mercury stations retrograde, and we will have Mars entering the sign of Libra on August 27th. So those are like the major lunations, stations, and ingresses of August. So, quite a dynamic month, but I feel like September is going to be, when we really will be in the thick of all those retrogrades. So yes, family, that has been the Sage Report for this week. Please give me a review. Tell me if you liked or appreciated this Sage Report, if you got any insight out of it. And I hope that you guys have a blessed week. Be sure to take it easy, and sometimes Saturn lunations could be a drag, but we got this. So I love you guys. And yeah, enjoy your week. Thank you for listening.